Good morning. It's Monday, January 26th. Dental Drill Appreciation Day. As in, I would rather have a dentist drill inside of my mouth without Novocaine every single day for the rest of my life than have one more day of this trash administration. Setting a tone at the top. And now, the news. Before I really get into it, if you're new here, or if you perhaps forgot, the tone you are about to hear, and also just heard there with the dentist drill bit, is not one that I love taking. It is not the point of the show. I started the show because my best friend Zaz asked me to, and in the last year especially, the reason I've continued to do it for the 5 whole people who listen is because all of these big kid news shows are scary, on purpose. Because they understand that that is how they keep you. That is how they sell ads. They scare you, and then you continue to watch them, and then they sell ads. That's not ever been my thing. It's just been about trying to keep you informed and genuinely not trying to scare you, which I am not trying to do here. But the facts here, in this story, are not unscary. Still, though, we have to stay informed. We have to stay paying attention. Right now, more than ever. Because on Saturday morning, in one of the protests that have broken out since ICE stepped up their efforts in Minnesota, as well as the cold blood, broad daylight shooting of Renee Good in Minnesota, a Border Patrol agent shot and killed yet another person. And I'm very sorry, but in order for you to fully understand where we are at right now, for you to understand this moment, you need the whole picture of what happened on Saturday. His name was Alex Pretti, who was a white man, born and raised here in the United States. He was an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA. He worked with vets. He was almost the right kind of white person for this administration, except he was against this administration, and so he was not the right kind of white person for them. He was expendable. He was on the streets with a cell phone. He did have a gun on him. However, he had a legal license to carry that gun. The gun stayed holstered the entire time. It was behind him. He was not there to, as this administration is lying and saying he was, there to cause damage. He was not. In fact, the only reason that this man even caught the eye of BPD is because one agent, full body, two-handed, shoved a woman to the ground. Just shoved her violently to the ground. He went to go check on her. When he did, BPD pepper sprayed both of them, and even as that was happening, he was still putting his body between those officers and the woman. He had one hand protecting her, and he had one hand in the air. And in that hand, he had a cell phone. Again, he never removed his gun. They pushed him to the ground. They had him completely, he could not move at all. And while he was there on the ground, unable to get up, they continued to beat him, including multiple punches to the head. And then at that point, they saw his gun and they disarmed him. They disarmed him. And then, when he didn't have a gun, when he was pinned to the ground, when he was not a threat at all, he was just, in their eyes, the wrong kind of American, 2 agents fired a combination of 10 rounds in about 5 seconds, killing him. Not a threat, just the wrong kind of American. A federal judge has issued an order to prevent the Trump administration from destroying any evidence in this case. We'll see if they listen. A hearing is scheduled for today. The National Guard has been called in by Governor Walz. The guards are wearing military uniform as they do, as well as high-vis yellow vests. Why high-vis yellow vests? Because they don't want to be confused with ICE officials. Trump blames the Democrats, of course, because he's old and boring and doesn't ever have anything interesting to say. He says the Democrats are inciting insurrection. That's a lie, but I'm only saying it to note that we should all be very clocked into the fact that he is using the word insurrection. He loves doing insurrection. He's like, I love doing insurrection and throwing, ketchup at the wall. And guess what? I'm all out of ketchup on my gross hamburgers. So he loves doing insurrection when he loses, which is crazy. He gets so upset about losing because he's such a loser. But he is calling this an insurrection. We should be very clued into that because he is just waiting to invoke the Insurrection Act. So that's what Trump is doing. What are the Democrats doing? On a House Democratic caucus call on Sunday, they began to call for Kristi Noem's impeachment. Additionally, more Democrats are beginning to make the trek to Minnesota in support of the protesters. We also learned on Sunday that an Army veteran, Purple Heart recipient, and American citizen was tackled to the ground by ICE officials 2 weeks ago, and following that, he was detained for 8 hours, all without ever being able to contact his family or a lawyer. No lawyer. Multiple attorneys interviewed by ABC News have said that some of the thousands of people that ICE have arrested in Minneapolis in the last few weeks have been denied their constitutional right to a lawyer, which makes sense when you think about it because, of course, they're denying their constitutional right to a lawyer. They do not care about the Constitution. Not really. We already knew about that. We knew they didn't care about the Constitution, except they always cared about the Second Amendment. We watched them. We watched them defend it over everything. Sandy Hook, Uvalde, Parkland, kids being murdered. And they couldn't fathom taking away someone's right to a gun. They were fine with kids being murdered as long as someone got to keep their right to a gun. Don't you dare get political. How dare you? While babies are being murdered, kindergartners, you're the one who's wrong for suggesting that we could in any way possibly just vaguely have a law to prevent a kindergartner from being murdered because the guns have rights. In August of 2020, Kyle Rittenhouse traveled from Antioch, Illinois to Kenosha, Wisconsin to, in his words, protect the businesses during BLM protests that popped up after officers shot and paralyzed Jacob Blake. Was Rittenhouse a cop? Nope, he was a 17-year-old YMCA lifeguard who was disqualified from joining the Marines. But he traveled 33 miles with an AR-15 style rifle, and after someone tried to take his gun away from him, probably because they were like, hey, kiddo, don't have a gun here, it's dangerous for me and for you, he fatally shot that person. From there, he ran and was pursued by a crowd. He was leaving a crime scene where he had just done a murder, and a crowd ran after him. It was at that time that he shot 2 more people. 1 person was injured and 1 person died. Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people, but he was the right kind of American because he was on Trump's side. And so suddenly, 2A dorks ran from every corner of the internet. Suddenly, everyone was an expert, and Rittenhouse was arrested, but found not guilty and became a darling of the Republicans. Alex Pretti did not travel from anywhere. He was not threatening anyone. He was trying to help a woman that, again, the Border Patrol just 2-hand fully violently shoved to the ground. He never brought his gun out. He had a permit to carry his gun, and he never touched it. But now, this 2A obsessed administration would like you to think that he had to die, no way around it, because he had a gun. I will say that the NRA is calling for an investigation. It would be nice if they put their money where their mouth is and said that they were pulling all GOP donations until there was an investigation, but that takes, guts. And you may ask yourself, after a weekend like this, as they are now murdering people in broad daylight, where does this end? How does this end? Pam Bondi has an idea. In a 3-page letter sent from Pam Bondi to Governor Tim Walz, Bondi informed him that ICE would be happy to leave the state and peace could be restored for the small price of the state's voter rolls. She also wants the Medicaid and SNAP records as well. Let me not mince words here. I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm not going to mince words. Let's just tell the truth of what's happening. They are holding the state hostage. How else are we supposed to look at this? Even Marjorie Taylor Greene says that this is going too far. Marjorie Taylor Greene posting a long post on Twitter that ended with, quote, both sides need to take off their political blinders. You are all being incited into civil war, yet none of it solves any of the real problems that we all face, and tragically, people are dying. End quote. Marge, both sides? But whatever, at least she's saying something. I mean, for now, there are some Republicans calling for an investigation into this latest shooting, but how long is that going to last? There is a vote coming up on the appropriations bill, and it does include giving more money to DHS, further funding ICE. I tell you what's going to help, throwing more money at them. That's a good idea. The Democrats have already said that they will not vote for this bill if it includes the DHS funding. However, Senate Majority Leader John Thune has already said that all 6 funding bills will be rolled into one, all but forcing a partial shutdown of the government unless Democrats vote to give more money to ICE. They are murdering people in the streets and asking for more money to, I guess, do it more. And if they don't get the money, they are willing to shut down part of the government. I don't know what both sides Marge is talking about, but both sides are not the same. That vote has not happened yet, so we'll see if the Republicans can find a brave, and I hope they do. Because if they were ever going to, if they ever could, this is the moment to do it. This is the moment to be brave. Vote against this bill. I say as someone that has a podcast that every single person in Congress listens to, except for Ted Cruz. He wants to, but he's so lame that I won't let him. He'd never find a brave anywhere, so who cares? Who cares about Ted Cruz? Everyone say it at the same time. Nobody! That felt good. That felt good. Anyway, I don't really have a succinct way to neatly sum up this episode. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Aren't you? And then tomorrow I'm going to go to work, to a job that I love. And then I'm going to come back from this job that I love, and I will record another episode of this podcast. Because we are not going to stop paying attention. We are here together. They hate it. That's enough reason for me to not stop. I love doing things that they hate. It brings me a certain joy. Their displeasure, their sadness brings me joy. Every day that he's sad, I am happy. I find it fuels me. I'm going to go get some sleep. You should get some sleep at whatever is an appropriate time. Drink some water. See 5 cool things you like and then write them down. And tomorrow, we will be right back here. We are not going anywhere. I'm proud of you.